Hello everybody, and you find me in my sitting room today, and I'm sitting next to these bookcases, and you can see all sorts of different books behind me. So there's a book about surfing over here, a book about Bob Dylan. Actually, you can't see the top shelf, but the whole top shelf is all about Bob Dylan. And I've got some John Grisham books here. I don't know if you read John Grisham, but I love his very exciting novels. Great writer. American Christian, actually, who writes exciting novels. So all sorts of different books, but of course they're all written for different purposes and all really interesting to read. Well, we are about to launch in, for Lent, into the reading of John's Gospel. John's Gospel in the Bible. One of the world's, well, most amazing and most beautiful and extraordinary pieces of writing. It's very different from the other three Gospels, Matthew, Mark and Luke, and yet it's obviously also telling the same story about Jesus the Messiah, who teaches and heals. He's loving, calling disciples, meeting opposition, and then, of course, dying and rising in Jerusalem. In John's Gospel, there are no parables, but there are great blocks of Jesus' teaching, including those amazing I am sayings. I am the bread of life, I am the good shepherd, and so on, the true vine. You'll find also some selected miracles, but John deliberately calls them signs, which point to the identity and the glory of Jesus. And watch out for John's special sort of buzzwords, his favourite words, which you'll find certainly in John chapter 1 this week, but throughout the Gospel. Words like light, love, life, truth, sent, know, believe. These are words that come again and again throughout John's Gospel. As I say, you'll certainly meet them, or most of them, in John chapter 1. John is writing for a purpose. He wants you to believe that Jesus is the Messiah. And he wants you also to have life. To have life. So even before you begin reading John, it might be really great to look at John chapter 20, verse 31. So I'll just say that again. John 20, verse 31. See if you can remember that reference. John chapter 20, verse 31. That is where John tells you why he's written the book. Why has he written this gospel? And the answer is he's written it for you, for the reader, for me as well, and for you. That you can believe that Jesus is the Messiah, and so that by believing you can have life. Life in Jesus, the life that Jesus gives. And at different times he calls it life, eternal life, life to the full, but it all means the same thing. And that's what he wants you to have through reading his gospel, so that we may know God for now and forever. And John's gospel begins with those amazing words, in the beginning was the Word. And very soon you realise that this Word is in fact Jesus himself, who was with God in the beginning, who was with God and who was God. And as chapter 1 goes on, you'll see how some first people began to react to him. Now, I studied linguistics back in the 1990s with difficult books like this one. We learnt in my studies a little bit about what language is and what words are and what they can do. Now, a word is a traveller. I wonder if you've ever thought of it like that before. A word comes from here and travels, well, to here, doesn't it? Or indeed from the speaker's mouth to the listener's ear. What we want to say is formed, generally speaking, in the left part of the brain, and then the actual words are formed in your voice box, your larynx, and your palate, lips, tongue, mouth, teeth, and out it goes. And then it's sent on its way, isn't it? Sent on its way out on its journey to the listener's ear, where it is received and again in the brain decoded and interpreted. And it brings meaning with it, from me to you. And Jesus says in John 8 verse 42, he says, I have come here from God. Wow, what a thing to say. I have come here from God. Now, our words can say things, but God's words can do things. They change stuff. They can make things happen, and they can bring life, and they can create stuff out of nothing. That's what happens in the first chapter of the Bible in Genesis 1. When God made the heavens and the earth, how did he do it? He spoke. Let there be light, earth, divisions and light and so forth. Our words do things, but our words say things, but God's words do things. And so Jesus comes as a word from God to bring you light and love and life. Well, what a journey lies ahead of us as we read John's Gospel through Lent. I hope you really enjoy it.